instance, she remembered the leftover cake. She raced to the room she had kept the cake, and Mr. Diekola followed. To their shock, the twins are frozen. Chunks of cake littered all over the room. Mr. Diekola rushed to his two girls. "What have you done to my twins? My instincts told me there is more to your cake, but I never listened. You bake without an oven. Who bake thousands of cake per night, if not a witch?" Ibukun's heart raced as Mr. Diekola's panicked voice echoed through the room. "Taye," he called. "Kenny, what have you done to them?" he accused. He cradled his frozen twin daughters, their bodies rigid, their faces pale. "What kind of curse have you brought upon them? For crying out loud, they are just children who crave for more cakes. Please let them leave." He was on his knees. Tears swells in Ibukun's eyes. "I don't know what to do." She looked at Mr. Diekola, who is still on his knees. "I'm just as confused as you are." Mr. Diekola stood up, his face littered in anger. "What do you mean? Is it not the cake?" So he picked his phone and started calling the wedding guests. To his surprise, no one answered. He rushed out. The village is frozen. Nothing seems to be moving. All stood still, including the trees. "What's going on, Ibukun? Please talk to me. The villagers too? Come on, talk to me," he pleaded. "I'm scared." So Ibukun, still with tears in her eyes, said, "Many years ago, when my husband passed away, Ifedayo became very sick. Every day, I would go to the market square begging for money. On this fateful day, an elderly man came to me and said he has a way to make my boy feel better, a way to put a smile on his face, but it will require a little sacrifice on my path. The old man asked me to stretch forth my arms, and he blessed them. He then said, henceforth, every night, when the moonlight is out, gather your flour and butter, and the spirit of the night will bake you beautiful and delicious cake. But remember, you must remain leftover cake for the spirit of the night." That was all, Ibukun concluded. Okay. Mr. Diekola became more confused. Where can we find this old man? Where does he live?" "I don't know," replied Ibukun. Okay, let's go and gather the leftover." But as Mr. Diekola walked into the house, he turned his back to Ifedayo. "How come your son is now well? Is there more you are not telling me?" "I'm sorry," replied Ibukun. "I wasn't honest with you because I don't want you to harbor any misconception. Also, I did not tell you about the existence of my boy because I don't want you to think I use him as a source of my cake making. I swore on the gods. That's all I know behind my cake making. I won't wish for any harm to befall the twins. They are like children to me. They are mine too, cause whatsoever belongs to you belong to me." Mr. Diekola breathed deeply and started packing the remaining crumbs of cake on the floor. "We keep this outside, and the first thing tomorrow morning, we go look for the old man." So they left the remaining crumbs of the cake outside. The night passed on gradually, and as the first light shone, the twins stretched their arms and yawned loudly. Ibukun and Mr. Diekola's faces littered with joy and happiness. Ibukun rushed outside to see if everything is back to normalcy. She smiled as she saw that everything and everyone is back to normal. But as she looked down, she saw the small basket with the remaining leftover cake inside. She picked it up. "This is not a good sign," she said to Mr. Diekola. as she showed him the cake in the basket. But think about it, Ibukun. What if the spell is broken? Said Mr. Diekola. Since Ifedayo is fine, then there is no need to feed him cake so as to make him happy. The only downside is that I don't think you will be able to bake again. Mr. Diekola hugged Ibukun and said, but looked at the bright side. You have got a healthy boy, a husband, and 2 amazing daughters. That night, as they slept, Mr. Diekola had a dream. He saw the old man. I can see you will make a very fine husband to Ibukun, and you are not after the gift of cake making and the money that comes with it. What I gave Ibukun was a blessing, not a curse. It was a gift to bless her and make her smile, not to cause havoc on her or her son. I knew one day someone will break the rule, and that day I planned to give her the biggest surprise for her perseverance. I'm happy that Ibukun is now a blessed woman. So, I will give the gift to another person, someone who has been crying to me that she needs to eat lots of cake. As Mr. Diekola shared the dream with Ibukun, a knock came on the door. It was Temidire. Ibukun, I can bake now. I baked this massive cake last night. I sat down and I ate it all. It was so fluffy and delicious. I couldn't get over the craving after my wedding. Every day I prayed for another day to eat such a delicious cake. Ibukun smiled at Temidire. Well, that's why I said only a slice. Cause sweet things can cause addiction. Though Ibukun no longer baked for the villagers, she still remained kind to them, and learning that one way or another, our kindness will always be repaid. The end.